Hello everyone, what's up? It's me again, Junkmaster3, and what do you know, it's time for another video, and today's video is going to be a continuation of the 10 horror movies that are currently stock on VHS that really needs a DVD or Blu-ray release. And before we continue with the video, I know you probably don't recognize me because I shaved off my beard just previously today. So yeah, now I probably look like I'm 10 years younger, but yeah, hey, I hope that's how it goes sometimes. But anyway, I'm gonna start this right away with a film. The first film I'm gonna mention is a film called Road Meat from 1988. And this is sort of like a film that was considered lost for like the longest time. I was able to watch this on YouTube, so I'm not really sure if the uploader himself actually had a copy, and that was like really like one of the only ones that in existence. But this is a really funny and entertaining sort of like horror comedy with lots of really fun humor to it. It has like, I believe there was like a bunch of like cannibals and stuff in this film. I'm not really sure if you would consider them cannibals or zombies. I mean, it kind of depends on who you ask, really. But this is definitely a very obscure film in general, and I would love to see this film get more praise and more attention from people because it was never released on DVD or Blu-ray. So, and it was very low budget as well. I actually looked this up right away, and it actually only had a budget of $35,000. So you know it's a very low budget film, but I thought it worked really well because I liked the humor in it, and some of the blood and gore effects were decent enough for being a low budget film. So yeah, there we have it, Road Meat. Now, the next one is a film that I have talked about a little bit before in my stock on VHS video that I made half a year ago or so. And it is the film called Code Red, The Rubicon Conspiracy from the early 2000s. Now, this is a made-for-TV film. And like in that video, I must say that it actually says action down here, which you can sort of argue it's actually more like an action sci-fi film than a horror film. But I will still say it has horror elements to it because it has a lot of similarities with Predator, with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It actually says here on the front, but in Swedish, the ultimate trophy for the ultimate predator. Right there, actually. Now, this one was a made-for-TV film that came out in the early 2000s. And I do remember I watched this on one of those movie channels back in the day, and I kept thinking, what was the name of that damn film? I couldn't really remember it. So I came across this VHS, and I looked up this film before I bought it just to see what this was all about. And it turned out to be the film that I had watched previously on TV like all those years ago. And I remember I really liked it. And but don't get me wrong, I mean, obviously Predator is the way superior film. I mean, this comes across as real garbage in comparison. But if you do like low budget, like made-for-TV films or sci-fi films in general, with like horror elements to it, you might enjoy this one. The reason why I like this so much was because of the whole survival aspect of it, where like these soldiers pretty much like gets picked off one by one, and there's some like conspiracy about like the government being evil and stuff. So this is, I mean, really entertaining. I believe this was made like in Australia or in either Australia or New Zealand. I don't remember, but I mean, yeah, this is a film that I would love to see get a DVD or Blu-ray release. I don't think it's gonna get a DVD or Blu-ray release, to be honest, because some of those movies that were released, made like those made-for-TV films that were made like in the 2000s, they are kind of like ignored. Like the majority of those films are probably ignored because most people think they're crap. But this one I actually really enjoyed. So yeah, great action, sci-fi, survival, horror type film. So yeah, the Rubicon, Code Red, the Rubicon Conspiracy. Now, the next one is a film that I think actually might have a DVD release, but I think it was like released on one of those like million movies packs or whatever you want to call like six pack or not six pack. That sounds weird, but I mean, on some of those like horror packs basically. So, but the film is called Vampire Trailer Park, and this was another one that I watched on YouTube. And like I said, I think this might have gotten a DVD release, but I mean, obviously that's long gone out of print. So yeah, you can sort of say that this statement still stays strong with this one. But yeah, Vampire Trailer Park from 1991. It's exactly what it is, really. There's like vampires in the trailer park. It's quite charming actually, just because of how low budget it is. It just feels like just some hope, not hobos, but some like rednecks like that lived like on this like trailer park area. We just decided to make a horror film together, and this was the end result. Surprisingly good blood and gore effects and some really hilarious death scenes. Obviously, it's not the greatest film in the world. I mean, it has lots of flaws in it. I mean, I thought it was a little bit too long, if I remember correctly. So, but other than that, I think this is a really fun film. So yeah, Vampire Trailer Park. So yeah, and then we have a film which is also kind of misleading in its title, and it's I'm not sure if this is the original title or not. I think I need to double check on this one, but it's the film called Dance of the Dwarfs from 1983. Now this one has Deborah Raffin, Peter Fonda in it, and I do believe this was also known as. Let's double check on this one. It's also known as, what is it known as? Dance of the Dwarfs. Oh, maybe it's just called Dance of the Dwarfs. Yeah, it seems like. Oh, wait a minute. It's also known as Jungle Heat for some reason, but that's just a very. I mean, I'm not saying that Dance of the Dwarfs is like a very good title for this specific film, because there's no real dwarves in this film. It's basically about these people getting like stuck in this jungle area. And like I've told you before, I have a soft spot for some of those films that takes place like out in the jungles and like stuff like that. But this one has like weird, like almost like turtle monster creatures, which really was really entertaining and really fun to watch. And yeah, the whole survival aspect of this one I really enjoyed. And I thought both Deborah Raffin and Peter Fonda did an amazing job in this one. So yeah, really nice blend of action, like not made an action, but nice blend of adventure and horror in my personal opinion. So yeah, Dance of the Dwarfs from 1983. Now let's see here. The next one, a film I'm going to talk about, is a film that I do have on VHS, and it is the film called Blood Voyage, right here. But this one is a Swedish release, obviously, because this is the Swedish title right here, Dödlig seglats, which sounds really weird to say that in Swedish, because I usually speak English with my videos. But this one is from the 70s. This one is from, I have to double check on this one, 1976. Now this is quite unique actually, because this is sort of like a slasher film taking place like on a boat. You don't really see that very often in, like, I mean, slasher films. I mean, you rarely see those films taking place on like boats and stuff. The first one that comes to mind is Jason Goes to Hell, but I mean, yeah, whatever. But this one, I mean, I like the atmosphere in this one. I would say this really needs a DVD Blu-ray release, because I believe some of the lighting was pretty bad in this one. Maybe it's just the VHS that's not really like in the greatest quality in general, but this really would have benefited from like a restoration, really, I would say, so you can see what's really going on in some scenes. Now, one thing I also really found quite funny about this one is the whole like front cover right there. It's just someone that just took a photo like of the ocean, and then just decided to dump that on the front cover, and then just throw like a weird skull there on the front cover. So, and this is like an old rental, you can probably tell that. But yeah, this is one that I actually did enjoy. I mean, it has some flaws here every now and then. It's still a bit boring from time to time in general, to be fair. But in general, I think this would, yeah, like I said before, would benefit from a Blu-ray restoration. You probably will enjoy it much more, and you can actually see what's really going on. So yeah, Blood Voyage from 1976. Now, the next one is a film called, this is yet another slasher film that was released in the mid-80s, and it's the film called Force of Darkness from 1985. And this is one of the very few horror films that was made, or like one of the very few horror films that they made in Alcatraz, like that island. Very interesting premise. I mean, the other one that comes to mind is that Terror on Alcatraz, I believe it was called, which is another slasher film that came out maybe like 1 or 2 years after this one. So that's a little bit similar to this one, but this one, it's basically about this. It almost feels like if you take like parts of Shocker in a way, and you put him like in Alcatraz, and you do the best out of that, you kind of get this film. So it's sort of like more like a supernatural type of slasher, like the whole ghost things, and people get possessed and things go crazy in this location. I mean, I don't think this is very like amazing or anything like that. It's decent for what it is. I mean, it's okay. I would say this is still better than Terror on Alcatraz, hence the reason why I decided not to include that film on this list. But this one, I mean, great premise. I just wish they could have done a little bit more about it, like more interesting death scenes, or like better pacing in general. But yeah, definitely a film that needs a DVD or Blu-ray release. So yeah, and usually, like I say, I would love to see every single like 80s slasher film from the from the 80s that I mean, I would love to see every single 80s slasher film get a DVD Blu-ray release because I believe that's a very popular genre in general. So yeah, I would love to see that happen. So yeah, even though they might be crap, who knows? Let's see here. Then the next one is a film called Claws from 1977, and it's like a killer grizzly bear going around like killing off people. Now, the biggest problem about this film is the fact that you don't see the bear too often. You more see these rednecks. I mean, it almost feels like it was a weird, like, if you take like Deliverance and you shove in like a grizzly bear in there just for the sake of it, you kind of get this film, which is a little bit weird to say, but that's really what it comes across like, because it's mostly these rednecks that are really like the main antagonists of the film. So the grizzly bear is just like really there as like a bonus thing, really, and they obviously want to market this as a killer bear film, really. So, but I mean, I would still say that the film Grizzly from the year prior is a much better film, but this still has its moments, I would say. So yeah, Claws from 1977. And the next one, I am not really sure if this one has a DVD or Blu-ray release. I mean, at least I've not come across a release of this anywhere. This one was another one. I'm not sure if I watched this on VHS or if I watched it on YouTube, and I don't really remember. But it's a killer kid film, you can say, and it's the film called The Paperboy from 1994. And I usually say that, like, when it comes to like these killer kid films, I would say the 90s is really like the best decade when it comes to those, and from time to time. So you have like The Paperboy, you have the film Mikey, you have The Good Son with Macaulay Culkin. I mean, there's plenty of those type of films that were released in the 90s that I would say is really, really entertaining and really, really good. Now, some people would say that I mean, it's not really a big spoiler or anything like that, but it's basically about this paperboy that is just a complete lunatic. And of course, people need to stop him before he goes absolutely berserk. Some people would say that his acting or like his like character is really annoying, but I feel that was actually meant to be like that. So I actually thought his acting was really, really good. I don't remember the actor's name, to be fair, but overall, though, really nice atmosphere as well. Really like early 90s atmosphere. Almost feels more like an 80s film to a certain degree, especially when it comes to the atmosphere. Yeah, The Paperboy from 1994. Now, the next one has been like on the radar of many people, I believe. I mean, very many people have already mentioned this film, that it really needs a DVD or Blu-ray release. Not sure if it might actually already have a Blu-ray release. Was it Vinegar Syndrome, or was it some other company that released? I'm not really sure. This can be totally wrong when I'm just speculating about this right now. But this film has been mentioned in these type of videos, that this really needs a DVD or Blu-ray release. And it is the film called Grim Prairie Tales from 1990 actually, yeah. And this one has James Earl Jones and Brad Dourif in it. And you could say this is like an anthology film. So you have like James Earl Jones, who's like sort of like the narrator for most of these stories, I believe. Or like he's sitting around the campfire with Brad Dourif, and they like speak with each other, like tell these scary stories in general. So nice atmosphere right there, right from the get-go. And good actors, of course, in like James Earl Jones and Brad Dourif. And the stories themselves are not really like spectacular or anything like that, but I mean, I still think it's a very entertaining and somewhat underrated anthology film in general. So if you do like your horror anthology films, go check this one out if you can find it somewhere, like on YouTube or a VHS or whatever. But yeah, really needs a DVD or Blu-ray release at this point. I'm really surprised that this doesn't have a DVD or Blu-ray release. So yeah. Now, the last one is another film that I believe many people have talked about. For sure, not a good film. I mean, it's a pretty trashy, stupid film, but it still has enough so bad it's good type of moments in it that I could still say that I would love to see this get a DVD or Blu-ray release. And it's a Christmas horror film called Elves from 1989 with Dan Haggerty. I think it's a little bit fun as well, because Dan Haggerty, you can clearly say that it almost feels like he's intoxicated when he's like doing this like narration bit, like towards like the beginning of the film, or like towards the ending of the film. But I do like the creatures themselves. I mean, the elves, I mean, they look really fun and really stupid. They kind of remind me a little bit of, I mean, this is a weird comparison, but it really fits into that whole category with, you know, the gremlins, ghoulies, critters, ghoulies, critters, gremlins, and Munchies. I believe. Yeah, Munchies was the last one I was thinking about. Maybe you can throw Troll in there as well. But then also you have this one which has never been released on DVD or Blu-ray. All the other ones have been released on either DVD or Blu-ray. So yeah. But anyway, Elves is like, yeah, I would love to see that get a DVD or Blu-ray release, and hopefully with lots of like special features as well, because it's a very fascinating film because of how weird and bizarre it is, really. So yeah, that's it for this video. That's another like 10 horror films that I would love to see get a DVD or Blu-ray release. I'm not sure how many more parts this is gonna be. It's probably gonna be, let's double check right here just before. I actually have the list right here. There's one part right there. Two, three. Yeah, I believe there's actually going to be 3 more parts in this series or whatever. So we'll see what happens next. So and like I say, I mean, I'm not like a brilliant expert when it comes to these films. I mean, sometimes, I mean, it turns out that some of these films probably already had a DVD or Blu-ray release that I have just completely forgotten about, or that I just haven't come across yet. So please inform me if I'm wrong with any of these films. So yeah. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this particular video, and yeah, I'm not really sure if the next part is going to be, I'm not sure if the next video is going to be like the next part in this series, or if I'm going to continue with like another like horror review or like a top list or whatever. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this particular video, and see you next time. Bye bye.